So if you're an American that's been paying attention and following things, you may have learned in the last several years that you're likely a Scotch, okay? Which is like if you were somebody that was told that you were Irish, you found out in the last several years that you probably are more likely a Scotch, unless you're full-blooded Irish. Okay, unless you're ginger or red or, you're full-blooded Irish. But if not, then you're likely a Scotch, which is Scottish and Irish mix. Yes. Those people came from Ulster. Yes, which is where Vice President Vance is from, okay? That's important because King James the First, and I'm a fan of King James the First. I am. And most people would say, oh, you only like King James the First because you support Trump. No, I wouldn't say that. I would say the only reason I looked into King James the First is because of Trump, right? Yeah, because of his lineage that goes back to Mary Queen of Scots. Yeah, that's true. But no, I can understand King James, where he was coming from. I don't think history's always painted him fairly, though, either. I wouldn't expect this world to. Any good king, they're going to paint with an ugly brush. And all the bad kings, they're going to paint with the saint brush. Look at the Catholic Church alone. God never raised that kingdom up, never raised that Vatican up. Can you just imagine God looking down at the kings that he's raised up in all these different countries and going, what are you doing? Looking to the Vatican for spiritual advice. Do you not understand the Bible? And back when they didn't understand the Bible because it wasn't in English, at least for the, Europeans, I don't know, maybe they... wasn't it? I guess if they could read Latin, they did, which makes no sense why they were still following the Vatican then. Because it's very clear in the Bible that God raises up the kings. Anyway, I said that a million times. But it's important because in Ireland, there's provinces. There's a province of Ulster, which King James the First created a plantation. And then... well, there's the province of Munster. Yes, these are the provinces of Ireland. As you can see at the top there, Ulster. And then here, right here, yep, this one, it had some people come out of it. Not so good. Not so good. Tend to be the type people that are, play the victim card. Just say, like, oh, we were so oppressed by the potato famine. And, so I'm not going to get into that. What this is really about, though, is that see, there was a war with Munster and King James the First. Of course there would be. The war went back to all the Gaelic traditions. The way the historians make it is that King James the First was trying to get rid of all Gaelic tradition and English throne was trying to take over. No. Let's back that train up a little bit and look at it from, a bigger view here. The Gaelic practices went back to pagan practices, which is fine. If you want to practice your pagan practices, I don't think any of the kings would have cared less. Except the problem was they were coming up on dismembered bodies, decapitated people. And so that whole sacrificing of humans thing, can't be having that. So that was the problem, okay? So, but Munster... was a plantation already, and it was not created by King James the First. However, Ulster was. The plantation of Ulster. Yes, you see King James down there at the bottom. This is the cover of a book. So, the King James goes back. He's very important to our history, even though he was gone after, America had, the revolution and everything. He's responsible for why the Puritans, the Pilgrims, and the Covenanters, who were from Ulster. The Covenanters were a Presbyterian sect that were from Ulster. Okay, so most of these people had issue with was his son, because his son was tied to the Catholic Church. I've done videos about that. King James the First, however, was not. He knew what the Catholic Church was up to. He knew they were no good. They were just a problem. Again, he's a king. He has to keep order. So he would rather have the Puritans, the Pilgrims, just go to America. Go there. I'll make policy so you can go there, because it made his life easier, because he does have this, group of Catholics unfortunately, that he has to consider. Okay? And what they didn't like, again, what the Presbyterians, the Protestant, what the Coventers didn't like, and the Pilgrims and Puritans, was the fact that he didn't remove enough of the pagan practices from the Anglican Church. The Anglican Church was the Church of England. However, under him, the Church of England wasn't going to be a problem because he was the overseer of it. This is why this whole nonsense with the Catholic Church running around the world saying, no, we're the arbiters of God, we're the truth seekers, and God, I'm sure, is looking down going, why is anybody even listening to this group of nonsense people? If they are a king, God raised them up, so he's the King of England. You could say he doesn't have the right to be the head of the church. Yes, he does. Yes, he did. This is where all this fallout came from. It doesn't mean but it means God put him in that role. He served it well. He did. He's been painted with a horrible brush. It's very disgusting, but not surprising in this world. So the plantation of Ulster was organized in an organized colonization effort during his reign. It involved the planned settlement of English and Scottish Protestant settlers on confiscated lands in the northern province of Ulster, Ireland. This followed the flight of the Earls in 1607, when several native Gaelic chiefs fled Ireland, resulting in the confiscation of their lands. King James I and his administrators, including the Lord Deputy Chichester, aimed to pacify and anglicize Ulster by breaking the power of the Gaelic Irish clans, severing their links with the Scottish Highlands, and creating a loyal English-speaking Protestant population in the region. The plantation for Ulster covers Donegal, Londonderry, Tyrone, Firmigan, Cavan, Armagh, I'm sorry, I'm botching some of these names, with land also settled privately in Antrim, Down, and Monaghan. The plantation involved redistributing land to wealthy English and Scottish undertakers who were required to settle English-speaking Protestant tenants and build defenses against possible rebellion. Hugely important. Yes, it is important. This colonization created a lasting Protestant community in Ulster, but also led to long-term ethnic and sectarian conflict in the region. Overall, King James I saw the Ulster plantation as a key strategy for consolidating English control over Ireland and securing his rule by replacing a rebellious Gaelic population with loyal British subjects. Now, see that broad brush there's painting over him like, oh, he just wanted control. No, he wanted the pagan practices to stop. Not that, I mean, I know here in America, because the Catholic Church, what the Catholic Church did was they took all those, patron saints used to be Irish goddesses. Okay? Okay, so if you want to light your candle and it says it's to Saint Victoria or Saint Anthony, I don't know, whichever saint you want to pick. They were once an Irish goddess. Go ahead and light it if you want to do. That's how free a country we are, right? Yeah, but what nobody wants is to be coming across dismembered bodies and decapitated bodies. Okay? And that was not acceptable. So there's a reason he was doing some of the things he was doing. This world will do everything they can to paint the ugly kings into some, God, and the good kings into this evil devil. Okay, that's what they do with him. I think he's a good king. There's too much proving it. So the Munster plantation, though, was already settled by a previous king, but the Munsters. The Munster province was not having anything. They didn't want any of those pagan practices removed, which is why they were all Catholic, too. Are you putting it together yet? These are the provinces in Ireland for Munster. What you'll find, there's Tipperary, yeah, is that many of these, Limerick is one that comes up a lot, too, Clare as well, and Kerry. They all seem to go back, if you look into people's ancestry, goes back to this one. Am I saying everybody out of Munster is no good? No, I'm just saying the ones that have risen to power in America that are part of the Kennedy clan and support all of that fascism. They are part of